I never thought my life would twist into something unrecognizable, a nightmare hiding behind the smiles of the people I trusted most. My wife, Lila, had always been beautiful, charismatic, and, at least to me, loyal. And then there was my best friend, Ryan. He had been like a brother to me, someone I confided in about everything, work stress, dreams, and even my fears. I never imagined that the man I called my closest friend and the woman I married would become the architects of my deepest betrayal. It all began subtly. Lila started acting differently, late nights at work, girls' nights out, and a phone she guarded more fiercely than her own life. At first, I chalked it up to stress or boredom. But the uneasy feeling in my gut refused to dissipate. And then came the whispers, the tiny cracks that shouldn't have been ignored. Ryan started texting less, avoiding my calls, his eyes darting nervously whenever Lila's name came up. Something was wrong, and I was determined to uncover it. The confirmation came unexpectedly. I had always been meticulous about finances and security. One evening, while Ryan was supposedly at work and Lila was out with friends, I noticed a notification pop up on my shared tablet. It was from Ryan's cloud storage, something had synced by accident. Curious, I opened it. There, in plain sight, were messages between Lila and Ryan, messages that made my stomach churn and my heart shatter simultaneously. They weren't just flirting, they were planning meetings, secret rendezvous, and something far worse, Lila was pregnant. By Ryan. I felt frozen, my mind unable to process the enormity of it. The woman I loved and the man I considered a brother had conspired in a betrayal that cut deeper than anything I could have imagined. The messages detailed every lie, every careful manipulation to keep me blind. They thought they were clever, that I would never find out. But now, armed with the truth, I realized the destruction their secret had already wrought. I confronted Lila that night. She came home, smiling, expecting the routine of normalcy. I held up the tablet, letting the messages glow in the dim light of our living room. Her smile faltered. For a moment, there was silence, and eternity compressed into a few seconds. Then she laughed nervously, trying to brush it off, but her trembling hands betrayed her. "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, a pathetic attempt at denial. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I let the silence speak for me. Ryan arrived shortly after, claiming he needed to talk to me privately. I let him in, and as soon as he stepped into the room, I could see the guilt flicker across his face. He stuttered, trying to explain, but the words felt hollow. I saw the panic in both their eyes, the recognition that their secret was no longer theirs to control. The next hours were a blur. I recorded their confessions, every half-hearted apology, every excuse. I watched as Lila tried to manipulate the situation, painting herself as a victim of circumstances, while Ryan insisted it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But the evidence was irrefutable. Their lies, carefully constructed over months, were now unraveling before them. The legal battle was the last straw. I filed for divorce immediately, citing betrayal, infidelity, and the emotional trauma they had inflicted. Lila and Ryan's relationship, which they thought would survive in secrecy, crumbled under the scrutiny. Their friends and families learned the truth, and the social repercussions were swift and merciless. Ryan lost his job due to his unprofessionalism being exposed, and Lila faced the judgment of those she had lied to for months. But the most devastating blow came when I discovered how fragile their bond truly was. Lila, consumed by guilt and fear, realized that Ryan, who had once been her partner in betrayal, could not provide the support she craved. Arguments erupted, accusations flew, and the pregnancy, once a symbol of their illicit connection, became the wedge that drove them apart. Ryan, who had seemed confident in their plan, began to fear the responsibility and the permanent consequences of their actions. I watched from a distance as their lives unraveled. They tried to maintain appearances for the outside world, but the cracks were visible to anyone paying attention. Friends who had once supported them now turned away, and family members refused to intervene. The secrecy that had once empowered them now imprisoned them in shame, guilt, and resentment. Months later, I received a message from Lila, a pitiful attempt at reconciliation, asking if I could forgive her. But the pain of their betrayal was too deep, the damage irreversible. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Their own choices had destroyed the life they thought they could build together in secret. In the end, the pregnancy ended in tragedy, a miscarriage that neither of them had anticipated. It was a harsh punctuation to a story of deception and betrayal. Their love, built on lies and secrecy, couldn't withstand the consequences of their actions. And I, though scarred and heartbroken, found a strange sense of closure in witnessing the fallout. I rebuilt my life slowly, learning to trust cautiously, to value honesty above appearances. The lessons were bitter, but they were mine. Lila and Ryan were left with the ruins of their choices, a constant reminder that betrayal, no matter how cleverly disguised, always finds its way to light. I never expected my wife to get pregnant by my best friend. I never expected their secret to destroy them both. But in the aftermath, I realized that some truths, however painful, are the only way to reclaim your life from those who would betray it.